Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So very excited because I am doing an update to my Nudestix collection. So I did this video, I want to say 8 or 9 months ago, covering all my Nudestix collection, and I have since added to it. Yes, I have. And I actually did get the new matte looks because at that point when I did that video, they had come out, but I hadn't tried any of them. And let me tell you, it is my favorite formula. I'm just gonna, spoiler alert, it is my favorite formula. We're gonna start with that because I got one, I absolutely loved it, and then I ended up getting all 5 shades. So there's 5 shades in that matte lux formula, and I'll explain the difference between the formulas because I did get a clarification from the brand. But we're gonna go through each of the formulas, and I'm going to swatch each set, and so you can kind of compare. It seemed that this video was it's been one of my more popular videos, and just because there's not a lot out there, and I don't think a lot of people have like swatching videos for Nudestix. I love Nudestix. I think they are fantastic, and especially for vacation, particularly like a beach vacation or a cruise vacation, these are great. I always take them, so they're fantastic. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to go through each. I'm going to start with the Nudies Matte Lux, which is the new formula, and then I'll move on to the Nudies Blush Stick Matte, the Nudies Bloom Stick Dewy, the Nudies Bronze Bronzer Stick, and then the Nudies Glow Highlighter Stick. So there's basically 5. I'm going to do them in groups of each group. And the Nudies Matte Lux, it is described, that's the newest formula that I mentioned. It is a ultra soft blurring cream to powder blush color stick for your cheeks, eyes, and lips for an easy multitasking and monochromatic makeup look. It comes in 5 shades: Rosy Posy, Juicy Melons, Nude Buff, Pretty Peachy, and Dolce Darlin. So those are the 5 shades. And what's different is they're both matte. So the Nudies matte stick, so they used to just be like Nudies, I think that's what they're called. And then it was Nudies, the Bloom is the dewy one. And then recently they've kind of reformulated, or not reformulated, repackaged, so that it's the Nudies Blush Stick Matte, Nudies Bloom Stick Dewy, the Nudies Bronze, the Nudies Glow. So there's more kind of, you can tell the difference, because before it was just kind of Nudies and you kind of had to guess what it was. So, but this is the Nudies Matte Lux. And again, it is a cream to powder. And I think that's the biggest difference, because the Nudies Blush Stick Matte is a cream, but it doesn't go like cream to powder. So that's the biggest difference, is that the Matte Lux is a cream to powder formula. I really like it, and I love the matte formula. Dewy is my least favorite. The Matte Lux is my favorite. So the matte is a close second, but I do prefer the Nudies Matte Lux. It's the same price. I believe they're $35 now. But if you are looking and you want a matte, I personally prefer the Matte Lux. So let's go ahead and swatch these 5 shades. Okay, so the containers for these are just like the other ones. They just say Nudies Matte Lux. You have the full size right here. Now this is a full size. This runs $35. I really like the minis, and I'll talk about the minis in a little bit. But I do have the full size of all 5 of the Matte Lux. They recently were part of the 10 Days of Glam, I think, for Macy's, and they were 50% off one day, kind of like the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. And that's when I had bought 2, and I got the other 3 shades. So this is, so it has the brush on the one side. The brush is not the best, but it's not bad. It's great on the go. I've definitely used it. I prefer to use either a regular brush or a sponge, but I will use it in a pinch. So it works. It's just not my favorite. They can come in a tin. I think you can buy them now without the tin, which I like as well. But this is Rosy Posy, and I'm just going to go through all 5 shades, and we'll do all 5 shades and swatch them, and I'll tell you what the description is. So this is Rosy Posy, and this is described as a cool fuchsia pink. Next is Juicy Melons, and this is a neutral watermelon coral. Next is Nude Buff, and this is a neutral warm rose. This is my favorite of these formula. Next is Pretty Peachy, which is a warm bright coral. Then finally we have Dolce Darlin, which is a warm caramel coral. So those are the 5 shades. I love all 5 of them. I use all 5 of them. Nude Buff is definitely my favorite. Rosy Posy seems to be the most popular, but Juicy Melons is also fairly popular. I believe the day of the Macy's sale, Juicy Melons was the first one to sell out. So really pretty shades. And I love how this one is cool. These 2 are neutral and these 2 are warm. I love how in the description, if you look at the descriptions, it tells you whether it's a cool, warm, or neutral undertone. So that is the 5 shades in the Nudies Matte Luxe. Guys, as I just mentioned, if you watch my original video, I had mostly full size and I had a couple minis. What I have done is, as they've had sales or promotions for minis, I have been kind of switching out the full size for the minis, mainly because I have so many that there's just no way I'm going to be able to get through them all. So I do have 3 remaining besides the Matte Luxe, which I have all full size. I have 3 full size in the regular matte. But then I think I do have the Bondi Bay. I kept a full size and I have a mini. But the rest I've been kind of switching them out, getting minis, kind of decluttering the other ones, mainly for storage. So any of my favorite shades I've kind of kept, or if I can't find a mini, I've kept the full size. But for the purpose of storage and for traveling, because I really use these for travel, and the minis are just easier to travel with. Now, are they as cost effective? No, the full size is much more cost effective. However, I just find these are easier to travel with and I like them more. And you know, the fact that there's no brush, it doesn't really matter. So if you're planning on traveling, definitely try and pick up the mini sets because they're really great for travel. So we're gonna go now with the Nudies Blush Stick Matte. So it comes in a bunch of shades. I don't have every shade, but I have a lot of them. I have 7. So I have 7 of the original matte. And now this is described as a long wearing soft matte monochromatic nude color for the eyes, cheeks, and lips. So the difference between the Matte Luxe and the matte is that the Matte Luxe is a cream to powder, and you can feel it as you do it. As it dries down, it feels more like a powder, where this one kind of feels still like a cream. So you have to, you know, set it. I love layering these with regular blush, so I do that a lot. My son just got home, so I do that a lot as well. But these are really great, you know, for layering. But you might need to, you know, either set it with powder, or if you're layering, you can, you know, set it with a blush color, and that will really kind of hold it in and make your blush last all day. So let's get into the swatches. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 4 minis that I have, and then we'll go to the 3 full size. So the first mini that I have is Naughty and Spice, and this is a neutral deep rose. Next is Cherie, and it's a neutral nude coral rose. Next we have Bareback, which is a neutral nude pink. Next is Sunset Strip, which is a warm bright coral. Now for the larger size, we have Body Language, which is a neutral nude rose. In the nude, which is a warm nude peach. And then Salty Siren, which is a warm rosy coral. So those are the 7 shades that I have in the regular original matte shade. So Bareback is really pretty. Bareback is a neutral nude pink, really pretty. In the nude is more coral than I remember. I prefer the Nude Buff in the Matte Luxe, but I think it's really pretty. It's definitely more warm. You can kind of see this one is Sunset Strip is a bright coral, really pretty. So that is the 7 shades that I have in the original matte. Now the interesting thing I just realized is that in the matte formula, the original matte formula, I don't have any cool shades. I have 4 neutral and 3 warm, which I tend to lean more warm because I have a warm undertone, so I tend to lean more warm or neutral. So I'm not surprised I don't have any like cool undertones, but I just thought that was funny. I only have 1 in the Matte Luxe, which is Rosy Posy, and then I only have 1 in the Nudestix Bloom, which is what we're going to talk about now. So this is the Nudies Bloom. This is the Dewy one. This is my least favorite formula. And it's not that, it's funny because I like the Dewy. I really like the Dewy cheek in the Pat McGrath one. But for these, I guess since there's a comparison, I prefer the matte. But I do like these shades. I do use them. I just, when I go to reach for a nude stick, I tend to go and reach for one of the matte shades, especially one of the matte luxe. But I do like them. Now, all of these I do have minis for. And I have 5 shades. I have Bohemian Rose, Cherry Blossom Babe, Sweet Peach Peony, Poppy Girl, and Sweet Cheeks. I think Poppy Girl and Sweet Cheeks are 2 new ones to my collection that weren't in the last video. So let's go ahead and get started. We will start with Bohemian Rose. This is the only cool tone. This is a cool fuchsia pink. And actually I have 2 cool shades. This is Cherry Blossom Babe. This is the other cool shade, and this is a cool fresh rose. So you can see it's a lot lighter than Bohemian Rose. Now to the neutral shades, we have Sweet Peach Peony. This is described as a neutral soft peach. Poppy Girl, which is a neutral watermelon coral. The only warm shade that I have is Sweet Cheeks, which is a warm soft pink. So these are the 5 shades that I have in the Nudies Bloom, which is the Dewy formula. And as you can see, it took me several. These have more sheer. They don't have much. They have the pigment, but you just kind of have to work on them. So, you know, they just take a little bit more effort. And that's probably why I just don't like them as much. I do like them. I don't want to say I don't, but when I go to reach for some, I tend to reach for the matte ones. They're really pretty. So these are the 2 cool shades. These are the 2 neutral shades, and this is the 1 warm shade. Okay, now let's talk about the bronzer. So I have 3 of the bronzer shades. I have Bondi Bay, Terracotta Tan, and Sunkissed. Sunkissed, I believe, is a new addition that I didn't have in my last video. Now, as I do mention, Bondi Bay is my favorite. Bondi Bay, as I think it's a great one. I kept that one in a full size, but then I also have a mini, and I tend to use the mini more. The mini is just easier, especially like for the nose. It's great. I just find it easier to use, and especially on vacation. You can see this one I've used quite a bit. And then, you know, compared to like the Terracotta Tan. So it's been well loved. Now these are, you can move these up and down. So it's not like, you know, you have to sharpen them or anything. You can move them up and down. That's why I just love the minis. Again, so the bronze stick is a multitasking matte cream bronzer stick that creates a warm bronzing color on the face, eyes, and lips for an easy makeup look. My understanding is that this formula is the same as the matte blush. It's just that it's a bronzer shade. And they used to all be the same, but kind of lumped it together, and then they had bronzer shades and it got very confusing. So they have since kind of repackaged it. Like for example, the my Terracotta Tan has the original one where it says Nudies Matte, whereas this one now says Nudies Bronze. So that's one of the things that's changed, where it used to just be Nudies Matte, and they all kind of were lumped together. So I do like that they did that. But let's get into the shades. So Bondi Bay is a warm neutral tone. Terracotta Tan is neutral, and then Sunkissed is warm. And Sunkissed is one that could probably be used as a bronzer or could be used as a blush. So this is a Bondi Bay, and Bondi Bay is described as a warm rosy tan, or you could describe it as a bronze nude. I've seen it both descriptions. Terracotta Tan, which is a neutral bronze tan or a warm bronze. So it is, you know, a little bit different, subtle difference. And then finally we have Sunkissed, which is a warm, rich terracotta or a coral bronze. So you can see this one does have like a coral undertone, and it could be used as a blush or a bronzer. You really could have a little bit of versatility here. So they actually came out with more Sunkissed shades that I don't have. But this is Bondi Bay, Terracotta Tan, and Sunkissed. Okay, now we're finally down to the highlighters. So we have the Nudies Glow highlighter stick, and it is a multitasking cream highlighter stick that softly kisses the skin with a dewy, lightweight, and luxurious formula. I have 3 shades. I have Bubbly Bebe, Hey Honey, and Euphorics. Euphorics, I believe, is the new one that I have. I actually love it. But Bubbly Bebe is probably the one I use the most. That's the neutral one. We'll go ahead and swatch them. Now these I did switch out for minis, mainly because I just don't, these are probably the ones I use the least. I just forget about them. To be honest, I don't, sometimes I will use like the bronzer or the blush without using everything. Now these are ones that I tend to only use on vacation. I just forget about them, to be honest. And I also probably prefer a powder highlighter. And I don't have a highlighter on. I don't think I put a highlighter on today. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put Euphorics because I haven't done that one, but let's go ahead. We'll start with Bubbly Bebe. That is the neutral champagne gold. So it's gonna be kind of hard to see this one. This is Hey Honey, which is a warm honey gold. You can see the difference there. And then you have Euphorics, which is a nude rose gold sequins. And this one is, you can kind of see it has sequins in it. So this is the one I really like. It's kind of got a shift to it. I don't think it's picking it up on camera, that it's just really pretty. So I am going to go ahead and put it on because I don't have a highlighter on. So I'm just going to put it on like that. This is another reason why I like the minis, because especially for the highlighter, they're just easier to put on. So put it on this side and on this side, super easy. And I'm surprised I just don't use these often because they're so easy to use, and they're really pretty. Okay, so there you have it. That is my updated Nudestix collection. Again, I am a huge fan of Nudestix. I think they're great. I think they're great on the go, especially for vacation. And then plus the minis. So again, favorite one is the Matte Luxe. If you like matte. Now, if you don't like matte or cream to powder formulas, then maybe you'd like the Bloom. It's just a personal preference. I think they're all fantastic. The cream bronzer, you know, I learned about this brand from a makeup artist, and a makeup artist that does pageants, and this is what he uses. He uses the Bondi Bay pretty much on everybody. And he has a couple other shades too, but it's such a beautiful shade, and it's so universal. The highlighters are fantastic, very easy to use. I need to use these more, but that is, you know, my collection, and hopefully these swatches will help you if you're trying to look. And then check out for sales. Like if you're going to get a full size, wait for a sale. They're $35. Like I said, if they go up to 40% off, sometimes that's a great time to purchase them. Occasionally they will get to 50% off. If you get them on 50% off, get it. Shades run out. They sold out, I want to say by like 10 a.m. that day that they were on sale at Macy's, they sold out. And Juicy Melons was the first one to sell out. So, you know, they definitely sell out. Also on Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. They have been on Ulta 21 Days of Beauty at least twice now. So, you know, check that. And then if they have a minis, usually the minis, you can get a nice set for $27. So you get 3 shades. And yes, they're minis, they're not going to last as long, but you can get like either 3 blushes or a highlighter, blush, and a bronzer. They have some really nice sets. And then occasionally Nudestix.com will have, how I got so many minis is they had like a Cinco de Mayo sale, and it was 5 for $40. So that's when I got them. So I got 5 for $40. I ended up getting 2 sets of 5 for $40, and that's how I was able to add, and I was able to kind of switch out and, you know, kind of change my collection and get rid of the larger sizes for the minis, which again, I prefer. Not for everybody, but you know, not everybody has a YouTube channel that has to do with makeup. But anyway, I highly recommend Nudestix. I think they're great. Even the Dewy, which isn't my favorite formula, I still use, I still love. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.